Oftentimes I'm asked, like, how do you use a credit card? Because there are a lot of times when I come across videos on social media or on the internet in general, and everyone talks about credit card debt and credit cards like credit cards are the boogeyman. People who preach the debt-free lifestyle, they hate credit cards. Actually, absolutely hate them. And I understand because, I have my own debt-free journey that I take part in. But the way how credit cards are talked down upon, I think is ridiculous, honestly, because, of course, I'm going to speak on this from an objective standpoint. I'm not just going to speak about it from a subjective standpoint. Because subjectively, yes, I'm a fan of credit cards because I have credit cards and I use credit cards. But I think the problem is a lot of people talk about credit cards like they're the boogeyman because they don't have a great understanding of them. Like, to the average person who doesn't understand credit cards are just a symbol of debt. Like, if you use credit cards, you're gonna spend, and you're gonna get in debt. So people look at credit cards from a greed standpoint. But that's just what it is. Let's be realistic. That's what they're viewing it from. A greed standpoint, meaning if you have credit cards and you have a $10,000 limit, you're gonna max out that limit or get somewhere close to that limit. And in my opinion, that's looking at credit cards from a greed standpoint, meaning you feel like you have to spend the majority of what your limit is in order to fulfill your credit card, or just because you can. And in my opinion, you shouldn't have a credit card if you have that mentality. That means you don't understand the purpose of a credit card, nor do you understand how credit cards work. So you should not have one. If you're that type of person that view a credit card as just free money that you can just go out and spend and I'll pay it back later on, I'll pay it back down the line, then no, you shouldn't have a credit card, because there's a high possibility you're not gonna pay off what you spend in the future because you're not gonna want to. Number one. And number two, more than likely another situation will occur where you have to use those allocated finances in order to pay for something else. So let's say you go and you spend $9,000 on a credit card. Maybe you had a trip, or these days people are even going to get surgeries with credit cards. Like, I'm hearing all types of things. And no, I'm not trying to judge you, but I'm just hearing all types of different stories of what people are doing with their credit cards. So let's say you go out and you spend $9,000 with that $10,000 limit credit card, right? Your utilization is already ugly. Your utilization is horrible. You're at like a 90% utilization if you do that. So you already have a bad utilization. You already have a bad debt to credit ratio. So more than likely your credit score is suffering from this, and you're $9,000 in the hole, and interest is probably already gaining up and piling up, especially if the card isn't new. Because normally if the card is new, they give you a little leeway. They give you that 12 months of 0 APR, no interest. You know what I'm saying? So you usually have that when the card is new. But sometimes the card isn't new. In fact, a lot of times the card isn't new. And people, they go and they do this to themselves in order to, I don't know why people do it. Sometimes people want to keep up with social media and they want to portray a lifestyle that they can't afford to live. And that's what a great deal of debt comes from when it comes to credit cards. People trying to keep up and live a lifestyle that they want to live. But back to getting on topic. So let's say you go and you spend that $9,000 and you say, oh, I'll just pay it back down the line, or I'll just pay it back by paying it over a long period of time, over an extended period of time. So you have this in your mind. That's how you're gonna pay the debt back. So time passes by, you may throw $100 there. Time passes by. Oh, next month I'm gonna throw another 100. Mind you, the interest is still piling up. That $9,000 isn't really being chipped into. It's not. You're not chipping away at it. You just poking it like $100 here, $100 there, and then with interest, the interest is fighting you. So you're not really doing any damage to the amount that you owe in your debt. So let's say a circumstance occurs in your life. You have to use money that you thought you would have been able to dedicate towards that credit card debt, and now you have to dedicate that money towards something else. Maybe a medical bill came up, or any type of circumstance, because with adulthood and in life, circumstances do happen where you have to allocate money from one thing and put it towards the next. Let's be realistic. The average person is not wealthy. We just don't have money growing on trees and savings, just piled up, that when emergencies and things do happen, the average person can just take money from an emergency fund. The average person doesn't have an emergency fund. That's part of the issue. That in fact, the average person, believe this or not, according to statistics, the average person doesn't even have $3,000 saved up in savings. So, things can occur and things can happen to where, you don't have the money for whatever circumstances occur. So then you're not paying your credit card debt, because people look at a credit card debt. I'm going to be honest. A lot of people, they view credit card debt as something that they don't necessarily have to pay. Some people view it like, hey, I'll just die with that credit card debt, like they may not get that money from me. But please believe there are people who think like this. Now, if you are one of those people who think like that, credit cards may not be right for you. They may not be right for you because you don't understand how to use them. You don't understand the purpose of them. And that's okay, because everyone can learn how to use a credit card. I don't care where you are in your life or what your current opinion is about credit cards. You can learn. You don't have to have the credit cards are bad mentality. You don't. You can learn. You can get you can have a better understanding. And once you do have a better understanding of how to use a credit card the correct way, you will take advantage of all the great rewards that come along with credit cards. Because to be honest with you, people are out here winning with credit card rewards, and they're not putting themselves in massive debt. I know that may sound unbelievable, but it's very believable. They're winning. They know how to use credit cards. They know how to get the most out of credit cards, and they are out here winning from all of these rewards that come along with credit cards. There are so many different rewards that come along with credit cards these days. And of course, yeah, it's all surrounded by around debt, because yes, the credit card financial institutions, the credit card issuers, yes, they do want you to spend. That's why they give you rewards, so you can spend with their financial institutions, so you can spend using the card. However, if you do know how to spend the right way, and you do know how to use a credit card the right way, you can make the most out of this. So the key is not avoiding credit cards. Of course, like I said, avoid credit cards if you refuse to learn how to use them, and if you want to be reckless with them, yeah, then you should avoid them. Credit cards are the boogeyman if you view it that way. But the key is to learn how to use them, because once you learn how to use a credit card the correct way, you're set. You will be set. Now for starts, I'm gonna tell you how to use it the correct way for starts. When you do have a credit card, I don't care what your limit is, make sure you're not spending over a certain amount, meaning probably 30%. They say utilization, don't spend over 30%. I say 10%. But for the average person, you may not want to spend only 10% or less. You may want to do 30%. Okay, so here's how this is going to work. In order to keep your utilization healthy for credit score reasons, don't spend more than 30%. I'll do that. I'll say that. Don't spend more than 30%. If you're in my class or you read my book, you know don't spend more than 10%. That's just that. Now, when it comes to spending using your credit cards, this is how you do it. Do not spend money that you know you cannot pay back the next month. Because in order to use a credit card correctly, I know people don't say this all the time, but I'm telling you this. In order to do it correctly, the correct way, do not spend money that you cannot afford to pay back the next month. This means you have to know in your mind and in your bank account, you already know that the money you spent in February, you will be able to pay off in March. And the money that you spent in March, you will be able to pay off in April, and so on and so forth. You have to know this. Do not overspend. Do not go out and spend money that you can't afford and you know you won't be able to afford to pay off the next month. That's the only way you're going to be able to use credit cards correctly, if you're able to pay off and you do pay off what you spend. That helps your credit score and that helps you not collect a lot of debt. Now, the key with that is to not spend what you can't pay off. As I said, that will help you a great deal. Another key with that is, which will help also, is to spend only on things, expenses that you normally pay anyways. So maybe food, gas, utilities, things of that nature. Money that you already spend, you can use your credit card from that. It will give you a 30-day, basically a 30-day extra loan. It gives you 30 days to come up with the money that you're going to pay back. And that's what I use it for, honestly. And it works like a charm. I'm never late. I'm never behind. I always pay off what I spend. It works like a charm. So you can do this. And in the process, depending on what credit cards you have, you would begin to collect rewards points. There are some great rewards out here. I always hear people talk about, I'm going on a trip here, I'm going on a trip there. I love to travel. And all I could think about, so you're traveling, you going to a hotel. I'm sure you're either going to get a hotel or Airbnb. And I'm sure you're going to take a flight, especially if you're traveling internationally. Why not put that on a credit card and get this rewards points? I vouch for Amex because I have one, but that Amex Platinum card, even the gold card, you get good travel points. But that Platinum card, you get 5-time points on flights and 5-time points on hotels. It don't get no better than that. Because imagine if you're going to travel and you just using that money and you're paying for that flight and that hotel with your debit card. That's cool, but you're not getting anything in return with it. Why not put that on your credit card? Have that money saved up where you're going to pay it off the next month. And so you pay it off, which erases the debt that you owe because you pay it off the next month in full. And you also get those points. That's a win-win. You get those points. So I don't think the issue is credit cards being the boogeyman. I think the issue is people not knowing how to use them. Because I was convinced before that credit cards were the boogeyman, but you have to learn how to use them and use them the correct way. Once you teach yourself and you discipline yourself enough to use the cards the correct way, you could take advantage of all these great deals out here with these rewards cards. I'm telling you, rewards cards are where it's at. And if you're gonna be traveling a lot, and if you're gonna be going out to eat a lot, you're gonna be going and doing a lot of grocery shopping, you're gonna be staying at hotels and all this other stuff, people spending money, you might as well put it on a rewards card because you'll at least get something back in return. That's a benefit. People are doing this and they're doing it religiously and they're winning. They're getting money back. And no, they're not building up a big pile of debt because they know how to use credit cards the correct way. And you can as well. So I thank you all for listening. Be sure to like and subscribe. I'm going to keep bringing more content like this. I also have my book, Strategies to Master Credit. I have a class, but I'm going to keep bringing this content. This is my lifestyle. So I'm going to bring content on credit cards and credit in general. If you have any questions, never be afraid to hit me up. I'd like to thank you for watching Water Your Soil. Be sure to subscribe. Thank you. Water Your Soil.